Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the public hearing on the speed enforcement cameras, and it is 7 o'clock. We're in the East Lyme public meeting room at the town hall, and so I would ask for a reading of the ordinance, or of the notice of the public hearing. I can do it, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, give me.
All right,
Yeah, I'll
why don't
read it.
You got it? Okay.
Town of East Lyme Board of Selectmen notice of public hearing regarding an ordinance titled, quote, "Ordinance authorizing the use of automated traffic enforcement safety devices," end quote. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the East Lyme Board of Selectmen at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, at the East Lyme Town Hall, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, to consider the ordinance titled, quote, "Ordinance authorizing the use of automated traffic enforcement safety devices," end quote. Copies of the full text of the proposed ordinance are on file for public inspection at the office of the East Lyme Town Clerk, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, and at www.eltownhall.com, to which reference may be had. Interested persons are invited to attend and be heard. The Board of Selectmen may make changes to the language of the proposed ordinance as a result of information presented in the public hearing. Dated at East Lyme, Connecticut, on the 17th day of December, 2025.
All right. So before we start, should we recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, so the purpose of this hearing is for the Board of Selectmen to receive comments from the public, interested parties. And so if you would like to address the board, please come to the podium, recite your name and your address so we have a clear record. And so I invite anyone to the podium that wishes to be heard. Yes.
Get started. This is brief. My name is Edward Javor, Javor. My wife Ellen and I live at 76 Flanders Road. I only had two comments to make, and they're both brief. I'm generally in support of the idea of cameras on 161. And the reason is, if you drive down 161 between, on the northern side of my house is, say, address 112, and the southern side, say, address 68. We've got a straightaway there that kind of reminds me, I refer to it as the old Colchester drag strip. When traffic is heavy, which is most of the day, the speed really is not a problem in that area. But late at night, especially in the summertime, there's certain vehicles, sometimes some of the old so-called rocket type motorcycles, they will just open their throttle in that section of the road. That very brief section, they're going at extremely high rates of speed. The noise is annoying, but again, I chose to live on a busy road, so I can't complain about that. But the safety aspect is a concern. If you were to pull out into that oncoming traffic, there is danger that if you misjudge their oncoming speed for a serious accident. The second comment I have, and this was one that came to me today, I was dropping something off at a neighbor's house at 112 Flanders Road, again on the pond side. And just north of 112, there's a curve. And she warned me, when you leave, be very careful leaving my driveway. There have been many people who have been rear-ended here. So I pulled out, I made sure there was no one coming from the southern side. I looked, I couldn't see very far, but I saw no one at all. And I got on my little truck and pulled out as fast as I could. I looked up in my rearview mirror, there was a guy right on my tail. That was definitely, again, it's the nature of the road. I can't tell you how fast that driver was going, but I'm willing to bet it was over 35 miles an hour. So I do have a couple of safety concerns, and just wanted to share them, and thank you for the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Anyone else who would like to address the board? Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Rich Steele. I live at 23 Rose Lane, East Lyme, Connecticut. We've tried getting a handle on speeding in town for a long time. We've tried speed traps with police stationed at them. We've tried traffic calming techniques, which some of you are familiar with the signs that give the digital display of what your speed is. For some people, that's an incentive to see how fast they can go rather than to slow down. There are traffic calming techniques that are being considered for future construction in town, especially along East Patagonia, design and management strategies that balance the traffic with other street activities, traffic circles, perhaps, lineage, and lane narrowing, to mention a few. This summer and fall, I had a chance to speak with a lot of residents in town. And the number one issue that was brought up to me was speeding and the reckless driving that is occurring in town. That even beat out the number two issue, taxes, which we always hear a lot about taxes. For 6 years, I've heard the police department requesting more officers specifically to address traffic and traffic situations in town and traffic safety. However, as you well know, as we come into the budget season, we have severe limitations on our budgetary resources. To hire an additional officers, approximately $100,000 a year, and that doesn't include other expenses such as additional vehicles, equipment, uniforms, training, etc. I believe cameras are a much more efficient and unbiased method of traffic control. And when I say unbiased, I don't mean anything about our police officers, but if you just, when you go down the highway and you see somebody get pulled over and you have somebody going 80, somebody going 70, somebody going 90, who is it that gets pulled over? You know, it's not a black and white issue. It's something that it's random luck lots of the time for the speeders as to they get pulled over. Now, the software, I believe, would be the most expensive item in installing the speed cameras or traffic safety cameras, whatever you may call them. And I believe the cameras themselves would be a very minimal part of the expense. And if we were to enter into this venture, I don't think we should just go with a few cameras. I think we should have them widely dispersed around town. I've heard from people that live on Fairhaven, that's a shortcut into Black Point. I've heard along Pennsylvania Avenue that becomes like a racetrack. I've heard at 5 in the morning, believe it or not, on Main Street, as employees are rushing to get to their shifts at Millstone or rushing to leave. We have seniors that are out walking then. I would never go out at 5 in the morning to go walking, but granted, people should feel safe as they do that. I believe our police department and our IT department have a lot of experience with the installation of the body cameras and the software that accompanies those. There have been some privacy concerns that have been raised, but do you use any kind of social media? Do you use Google? Do you use ChatGPT? Do you do online shopping? Do you travel on the interstate? Do you use toll roads or bridges? Your personal information is out there everywhere. I don't think having speed cameras is going to magnify that situation any more than it already is. Okay, there was an additional report that came after the last public hearing. When that public hearing was closed, that forced holding this public hearing. The police chief had submitted the idea back in November. The request was open for public review then. And it seems like we're really spending more time going through this, that if we had followed process, the first public hearing would be done and you guys would have been voting on things. The process wasn't followed. The report I tried to find on the town's webpage today as supplementary materials for this meeting or in the minutes, because I heard that it was read into the minutes when I looked at the newspaper. But I couldn't find it, so I wrote to you all and to Sandy. And it is posted and it is available here. But that doesn't give people a lot of preparation to go through something like that, especially with the number of charts and numbers that are there. But from the title of it, you know, it almost looks like we're looking at apples and oranges. That we're talking about crash data. We have a lot of safety concerns without crashes ever getting involved. There are other ways to collect data if you need to have more data. The pneumatic road tubes, you've probably seen them. You don't see them so much anymore. But then when they were doing traffic studies around the fire station in Flanders, they had those laid across the road. It's 2 rubber tubes that are about this far apart. Besides counting vehicles, it is also a way of measuring the speed. And it doesn't identify anybody, it just lets you know, do we have a situation where speeds are way in excess of what the speed limits are? Speed limits are set for the safety of the conditions of the road, and that's on a sunny day without glare of sun. And if you ever try to drive around here and drive speed limits, you'll find just how friendly our community is. You'll have people that want to get very close to you. And then when you turn, you get a nice friendly wave, but it looks like they've got a paralysis of one of their fingers. So, with that said, I just would like you to think that we have a speeding problem here. We have a resource problem. We have a solution that could be implemented without the tremendous strain of additional personnel. Additional personnel also put a further strain on our pensions. And the pensions, especially with the construction that has been going on by the interstate, are going to really be ballooning. Now, granted, the contractors pay off-duty police officers to be at those positions, but they're paid through our town. The contractors pay our town that then pays the officers. And so they're eligible to collect pension pay out of that. And that's going to be a huge debt burden going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carol Glynn. I live at 103 Flanders Road. I am on the opposite side of Gorton's Pond. I am here to support anything that anyone can do to encourage people in this town and people who drive through this town to realize that Route 161 is not a highway. I am sure there is speeding on other streets as well. I live on 161. I have to cross the street to walk my dog every day. I have to get out of my driveway to get onto the road to go to I'm self-employed, I go to a different place every day. I need to be able to get out of my driveway to do that. I have nearly been killed so many times I can't even count it. My current dog is 3.5 years old. She is younger. We can go faster. The last one lived to be 14, and there was a time I will never forget that we literally I put my foot out. If I had hit the ground, my dog and I would both be dead, and I would not be standing here today. One of the main reasons is that I'm on 161. I am the first house after the blind curve. And people come around that corner assuming they're going to hit that light faster than anybody ever, but they're going to hit me first. I have made jokes because my field is in the arts, and I have been for over 30 years, been doing projects and raising money for the schools and for other artists and myself to go in and do projects. And so I know many of the kids in this town and many of the adults in this town who used to be kids in this town. But I make jokes that I'm going to be remembered as the person who screams at traffic all the time because I just want to live. I have been told by drivers as they go by, just stay on the sidewalk. And I'm like, I live on the other side of the street. I have to get across the street to do that. Anything that anyone can do to encourage drivers that it's actually not a highway and to slow down, I support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, good evening. My name is Gus Schmidt. I live at 8 Morris Lane. I'm going to take the opposite side of this argument. One needs only to look at one of the many published works on surveillance capitalism to understand the potential use, or more likely, better term, misuse of these types of technologies. There's been recent studies from various cities reporting on how these traffic control devices are issuing citations that are inaccurate to people who are basically guilty before guilty. They have to prove their innocence, right? That's how this statute, this municipal ordinance would work. You receive something in the mail saying you're guilty, and if you want to appeal your guilty suspension, then you make an appeal to the traffic control officer. One would probably say the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States would say that's a little bit backwards. I am by no means a scofflaw. I don't drive around town at excessive speeds. My deterrent is primarily negligence per se. I don't want to be speeding and hit somebody and then get sued and be deemed negligent because I was speeding in excess of the speed limit, which would be an open and shut case, basically. So there's other things that we can do besides installing surveillance technology, paying vendors to operate this. I think the statute says the East Lyme Police Department is going to operate the system, but then it goes on to say, no, it's actually going to be the vendors that operate this system. Well, who's the vendor? Where is their data stored? Who has access to that data? What can it be used for? What's the privacy policy? The questions go on for days about how this information can be used or misused. And so I always say surveillance technology is usually never the answer. Safety is always a primary thing that is brought up to justify it, but usually there's ulterior motives behind implementing those types of things. And I think if you install these speed cameras, you're going to see kangaroo driving. You'll see people slowing down where they know that the cameras are going to be coming up, and then they'll just proceed to driving the way they want to drive, whether that's safe or not, unfortunately. I think the backup materials to this meeting provided some data to suggest that speeding isn't really as big of a problem here on a relative basis compared to other municipal jurisdictions in the area. Aggressive driving, I think, was cited in that report as being the more common problem. If you look at some of the jurisdictions that have implemented these automated traffic control devices, you'll see that one of the unintended consequences, the gentleman spoke earlier about being rear-ended coming out of a driveway. Rear-ended collisions are actually enhanced when you see these devices in municipalities because people will slam on the brakes when they see the notice speed camera ahead coming up, and if someone's not paying attention behind them, they're going to end up rear-ending them. So the unintended consequence of installing these types of devices can be to actually increase the number of traffic accidents, at least those types of traffic accidents. I'm all for controlling traffic laws, enforcing them as they should be, keeping the community safe. I usually just think that surveillance technology that can be misused, people's privacy being invaded, all sorts of concerns that come along with those types of technologies being implemented in the community. I'll have to just say, it's not for me. I don't think we should have that here. coming from, having lived in South Florida, if you think the traffic here is bad and the drivers are bad here, I think you've probably never been down to Miami during rush hour because it's 20 times as bad. I'm not saying that justifies anything here or not, but in my experience here in East Lyme, the traffic has been, pretty typical of a town of this size. I don't think installing speed cameras is the right move, and I hope that you would vote against this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Allen. I live on the corner of Society Road and 161. My heart rate is going 500 times to the minute because I'm not used to speaking in public. However, this is a subject that I feel so strongly about, I have to come to this meeting and tell you. I have lived only here for 3 years. Therefore, I guess I'm slightly more attuned to the problems that are on 161. Everybody who's lived here, I would have thought, has been immune to it, whatever the word is. But as we've heard from the people who live there, it's a problem. I've only lived here for 3 years, twice. My house, my perimeter of my house has been hit by cars. There was one time when it came onto my property on a Friday night. I didn't know about it until Sunday morning because I was outside in my garden. For the first time in a long time, I spend 8 to 10 hours a day in my garden. I bought a nursery because I'm a gardener. I spend a lot of time in my garden. If I'd have been out working on my garden when that car came through, I'd be dead. Let me address the problem this gentleman said, oh, we can't have cameras. As you may have guessed from my accent, I'm English. We have security, CCTV everywhere. On our motorways, we have cameras that even check your speed from the time you enter a work zone to the time you leave the work zone 10 miles down the road, and they can tell what your average speed was. Do you think people speed? No, they don't. This is the effect of good policing. You have a tool, you should use it. What you do with the information is up to you. You should not use that information for anything else other than police investigations. You're there to stop people from speeding. That's what speed cameras are for. All right? That's the simple factor. There's nothing else. Everything else that you're thinking about, well, oh, well, we shouldn't do this because we can tell that somebody was going down the road at 5:15 in the morning. Great. If you're not doing anything wrong, I have no issue with you knowing that. If you're doing 50 miles an hour down the road, you should be seriously ticketed for a speed. Directly across the street from me, he's not here today, directly across the street from me is a guy who pushes his wife in a wheelchair. If you've driven down 161, you've seen them. You're all nodding, right? Yeah. That's because he cannot go fast. Somebody comes around that corner, you've got a problem. They're going too fast, she's going to get killed. One of the reasons why I'm advocating for the speed cameras is that there is no way for our police force to put a patrol car with a radar detector gun in that section from Society Road to Roxbury Road. It's all private. There's nowhere for them to park. They can't do anything. Can they go on private property? I don't know. Is that legal? I don't know. But I'm telling you, This is a way to enforce a law that you guys have put into place, or somebody did, because it says 35 miles an hour. If somebody does in 50 or 60, that's a problem. Personally, I know I'm new to the area and I'm not some guy who wants to create a problem. But there is one guy at 20 to 8 every morning. I won't say the color or the make of his car, but he uses that traffic light as the start of the Indy 500. I have a video, and I'll play it to you if you want, of him starting his engine at the traffic light, and it goes on for like 12 seconds at full acceleration. Now you tell me, I'm sorry, a Ford Mustang, how fast can it go in 12 seconds? It's going to go more than 60 miles an hour in 4.2 seconds. Or maybe it's 5.2 seconds. This guy, I can hear him coming back past the school on Society Road all the way to 95. Full acceleration. He uses that camera that says, oh, it goes red at 40. Oh, great, I'm not even out of first gear. This guy is a maniac. You got to catch him. I've told the police this. They were very responsive. Believe me, they were fantastic. I got the plate number, gave it to the police. They called the guy's father, because the father had given the son the car, and said, hey, your son's speeding, tell him not to. Did it make any difference? No. A speeding ticket will. The only way he's going to get a speeding ticket is if you put a camera in and catch it, because you cannot put a car there with a speed radar detector. This is a no-brainer, guys. Get it in, get it done, make some money for the town, and stop the speeding on those roads. And put it on Roxbury Road as well as Riverside Road. That's the worst. There's not even a place for people to walk on that road. Please do this, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have more comments? Please.
My name is Joshua Caskey. I live on One Grimm's Way, East Lyme, Connecticut. I'm here again to express my support for this ordinance. I think there's been studies in other municipalities that have had speed cameras for a number of years that have shown that implementing a speed camera at certain locations does reduce the number of cars that do speed in a variety of different locations. So I think I don't believe that speed cameras will fix all of our issues with speeding. I think speeding is a problem that requires a lot of different tools, including police officers, speed cameras, education, but also like making our roads safe for people to use, safe for pedestrians to use, that encourage slower speeds, like on Main Street. It's incredibly hard for me or anyone to drive fast down that road because it is so like dense with pedestrian crossings. So there's just a lot of slow vehicles down there during the midday. And I feel safe walking around Main Street. I do not really feel safe walking on 161, simply because it's a much wider road. It just is not as nice of a walking environment. So I think that speed cameras are an important part, but I also think that creating more cohesive like networks of sidewalks is also an important part. As someone here was mentioning, on 161 there aren't sidewalks on both sides of the road. I think that would greatly improve my feeling of safety if I were to want to walk down 161. So I think that's something that I know that the funding of this is limited to, I think, infrastructure improvements and the operation of the cameras themselves. I think that improving sidewalk connectivity would be a very good choice to dedicate this funding to. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Hanley, 124 North Brybrook Road, Niantic. I just want to say I am 100% for the police department. We hear people talking, obviously there's a public safety issue. I'm old school. That should be the police department taking care of that. Whether you got to hire overtime, I mean, put dummy cars out there. I don't think this is going to fix the problem with the cameras. I've done my homework a little bit. I know quite a few law enforcement. I've talked to them in-state, out-of-state. The question I have for you, the board, is how are you going to collect this money? You are out, you're hiring somebody, you have to do all the dirty work. I brought up just an individual in here the other day. You guys implemented the blight issue a few years ago, $75 a day. Since I was a kid, some of these houses are still the same way. It's not enforced. Are you going to enforce this? Talked to some people in town, told them about, what they thought. You know what they said? I'm not going to pay it. Not going to pay it. Town's not going to do anything. So you guys need to figure out what you're going to do on collecting this money. You're getting the dirty work. You're hiring somebody, they're going to write the tickets. I know you're going to ask the chief some questions tonight. Once you sign off on this, they're done. This is all on the vendor. So, yes, I know people are mad about speeding. I'm all about public safety. But I think we need to figure out what we're going to do here, because I think a lot of these people, they are not going to pay. Is it a deterrent? Hopefully it is. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Moulthrop. I'm a resident of Niantic, part of East Lyme. I have a few questions that I don't expect to be answered tonight, but I would like to get answers in the future.
Could you just give us your address, please?
No, sir. I am a resident of Niantic. Glad to show you my license was issued within the last month, if that's necessary. Thank you. Does this affect the issuing of the tickets? Does that affect our insurance rates of the individual? Will the ticket be relayed to the insurance companies such that rates will go up, or? Okay, next question. What corporation handles the delinquent tickets, and what fee are they going to be charging? How much is the initial cost for installing the cameras? What is the cost of a camera? How long is the average lifespan of such cameras before they need to be replaced? If a camera is in a school zone and it's either holiday or it is midnight at night, is that ticket still enforceable, or is that camera still going to be taking data? Or is everybody, no matter what time of the day, going to be getting a ticket? Have you received any feedback from any other towns, such as Middletown, who has these cameras have been installed in? I'd like to know what residents are saying and what the town is saying about them. What is the yearly maintenance fee from the vendor for these cameras? As far as storage of data, how long is it? How long they're retaining it? Who is responsible for the data itself if there's a breach? Is it the town that's going to be responsible, or is it going to be the vendor? This is information that we need to know before we get involved in a contract, because we don't want to expose ourselves to any kind of liability. And is there going to be a firewall between the data that is collected and the state collect system? Because if someone's able to hack into the system and there is no firewall, then everything is exposed. This is a serious situation that does not need to happen. Other than that, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Dawn Griswold, 5 Dodge Court. Looking at it as a longtime resident, always lived here my life, and I've seen the changes where everybody knows everybody to now nobody knows anybody, and the changes where somebody would call my mom and say, I'm hanging out down by the heaters at the washing machine and with some friends I'm not supposed to be with, and the message would get back to my mom before I got home. So that was the little town. Progress, people, COVID, so many people are living here now from out of town. And Mr. Christopher, who is a wonderful person. This bombardment of all these people, and a lot of them just do not care. I can't get out of my road. A lot of people can't get out of there. I've tried to get out of Carol's. I had kids in the car. I am petrified. I've got to either gun it or wait till there's a really long, or somebody's going to actually slow down for me. There's a lot of people that moved here that don't care. They're going to go faster. There's no way they're going to let you in. And it's the same thing over by Stop and Shop, where you have 2 lanes to go into one. Gosh dang it, I am not going to be behind you. Wham! You know, go ahead, you got to get in front of me, whatever, get done tonight. They're still there. The cameras, what Christopher said about the modern CCTV cameras, I've seen a lot of it around, whether you're for it or you're not for it, on the highways, where they take a snapshot of you going through the tolls, whether you've paid or you're not. There's a snapshot. There's a picture of you, and there's your license. And I'm sure these are extremely accurate. I'm sure that there are researches and studies and all that show the accuracy of them. I don't know about the vendors and the machines themselves or anything, but I do know that they are cameras that are stable in a spot like a telephone pole or whatever. They're not that large, and they can get a lot of information. And it goes where, I agree with whoever said, with the police department. Somebody else with all their records elsewhere, and how much are they going to cost? I'd rather increase our police force, pay the police force. They know a lot of people. They know where the bad spots are. They know the dangerous spots. Gorton Pond, when somebody cut down the trees around that dangerous curve where that person lives with the stone wall, and that was opened up, and we had quite a few accidents there. People are just going by and they're like, oh, look at the water, not realize, and a motorcyclist was killed. That, you know, it's a little thing, but it became a big thing. So now this speeding is a big thing. I was never allowed to ride my bike to school. I didn't let my kids ride their bike to school, and I won't ride my bike to Flanders. If I need car work, I have to find somebody to come to me or go downtown to Guys or whatever, because I have to ride my bicycle back, and I am petrified. You got this little lane for your bike, and people do not take their cars and keep out of that. They cross the yellow a little, they cross the white a little, and you're going around that curve. And if I'm on my bicycle, God forbid, it should be a kid going to school. I haven't done studies, I haven't done research, I did not go through the paperwork of the crashes, but the speeding, somebody's on your butt, you can't see their lights, they got to get around you, they don't care. Whatever it is that you do, I think it could be done in a cheaper way than getting the vendors, but we do need to do something. I'm sure we've all seen it. We all know what everybody's talking about. I'm supportive of this even happening because I didn't think it would ever happen. So thank you very much for doing that and taking care to try to help this problem any way you can. But I do believe we should keep it with the police. And that's it. Thanks.
Dawn, if I just, do you support the cameras or not?
I do. Yes,
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I have actually been almost hit a couple of times walking. I walk for exercise down around all over, and I was past CVS in front of the Carmine's package store, crossing Hope Street by Niantic Plumbing. And I'm going like this, and I go to step down, I'm looking that way, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. And I almost took a step, and here comes this car down Penn Avenue, screaming around the corner, and they clipped my pants. If something was in my head that said, don't do it, they clipped my pants. My hands went down on their car. And this has almost happened about 4 or 5 times. They've not gotten me. And now I won't go across that road without looking behind me anywhere I go because I was so scared. God forbid, you know, I don't want to be crippled and be in pain and agony for the rest of my life because somebody couldn't wait till I just got across the road. So that was one of my personal experiences, and thank you for letting me tell it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Don McKenzie, 10 Woodland Drive, Niantic. While serving on the Board of Selectmen with almost every application that came before us, whether it be building permit, housing development, or even a dog park application, one of the most common complaints heard was during public hearings were that of excessive speed in the area where the work was being proposed. We almost always heard, have you seen anyone down there to see, send anyone down there to see how fast people are driving through the area? You need to have a speed trap there. You need to have somebody that gets there before somebody gets hurt or killed. I live in one of our beach communities, and the speed limit is 20 miles an hour. And I want to tell you the speed complaints are valid. I hate identifying a problem without a solution. Chief Glenn has also heard the complaints and has come up with a solution I feel indeed will slow people down, along with being self-funded. Most importantly, if implemented, it may save someone from injury or even worse. What better result could we ask for? From the cameras of taking, folks, the cameras taking pictures are taking pictures of a license plate. And if one is going over 10 miles an hour above the speed limit, a ticket will be sent. It does not affect one's insurance, nor will it appear on the owner's driver's record, because we do not know who the driver is. If the owner of the vehicle would like to contest the fine, there are avenues to do that. We are simply trying to slow people down a little bit with an issue that we all know is real. I used to not wear my seatbelt. Then I started doing it or dodging the cops, put it on whatever. Now I wear it. It's a reflex now. I think maybe this will start a reflex of slow down, stay within the speed limit. We have a new chief. He's doing a fine job. There's support within the department where before there was none. There's also support following and trusting developing within the public as well, as he's not even been on the job a year yet. That's progress. That's teamwork. I'm asking that we follow Chief Glenn's lead here and vote to get the cameras installed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to comment tonight?
Paul Nazarko, 213 North Brybrook Road. As you know, I've been here before. The speeding is just in this town. It's not just Brybrook Road, Giants Neck Road. It's everywhere, and the police just can't be everywhere all the time. And I think the cameras would help. And I mean, it is the law. If the speed is 25, that's what the speed limit is. It's not 30, not 35, not 40. And if people can't understand that, then maybe they shouldn't be driving. And like I say, there's no respect. How many times you come up to a red light, your light turns green, somebody drives right through the red light. Nobody has respect for anything anymore. And it's just getting out of hand. That's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Dawn Griswold, 5 Dodge Court. The penalty for the first time is $50 with a $15 processing fee. So that's $65 the first time you go 10 miles an hour over. If you're 35 miles an hour up there, that's 45 miles an hour. Down here, it's 25. The speed is 25. Going 35 is it's a ton of people. I don't think the penalty is high enough. I think and 10 miles an hour, maybe easier to get down here where it's 25 miles an hour, but up there, it definitely needs to be lowered a little bit. On the highway, I think, what is it, 14 miles over, and then you get a ticket, and the tickets are 375, something like that. If we could increase the amount where, if I'm going to get a ticket for going 8 miles over in a 25 mile an hour zone, and it's going to be $500, I'm going to be careful. So I would just like you to think about that, more of a penalty and not so much 10 miles an hour closer to town. And Christopher mentioned the man in the wheelchair, the man pushing the wheelchair. We've all seen him, but there are other people also that have wheelchairs, and they come down here and go to CVS for their meds. And there's also, I've seen someone up in Flanders besides that, but there are more. Anyway, I wanted to say about, I think the penalty would help more, and the lowering closer to town. Sorry.
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Any additional comments?
Joshua Caskey, 1 Grooms Way, East Lyme, Connecticut. I did have one, I guess, question that I wasn't too sure about, I guess. Like this year, we've seen the federal government ask for some data, mostly I believe through from like the voter records through the state. I guess my question is, if the federal government or the state or whoever wanted to access this data or get this data for whatever reason, would the town have be able to determine whether or not they get that data, or would it go through a court? Would it go through the vendor? How would that process look if it would happen at all? Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thanks.
question. Do we have any additional comments for the board? I'll ask again, are there any additional comments? Going 3 times, any additional comments for the board? It appears that there are none. So at this time, I have a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
Wait, can I just ask
Yeah.
a question?
Oh, sure.
There were some questions, and I'm not sure if this is the right time, that were asked. Would we address those questions now?
I think when we deliberate,
When we deliberate?
yeah, this is for us to hear
Okay, got it. Just want to make
comments.
sure.
And then when we deliberate, we can flesh out those questions and we can ask the chief.
Any questions that the chief? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Okay.
So
and
this
while
is
we
more a
deliberate-
listening
Okay.
Okay,
part,
understood.
and then there'll be discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no one else, right? We're good? Okay.
Yep, we're all good? Okay.
Move that the public hearing concerning a proposed ordinance entitled Ordinance Authorizing the Use of Automated Traffic Enforcement Safety Devices be closed.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Okay. All in favor of closing the hearing, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right, and no one's opposed, no one's abstaining, so the hearing is closed. Thank you, everyone, that took the time to address this issue tonight. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we will head into the regular Board of Selectmen meeting.
We got a big night.
All right, we're going to get underway. I'll gavel us in. Okay, good evening. This is the East Lyme Board of Selectmen regular meeting of January 7th, 2026. We just concluded the public hearing that commenced at 7 o'clock, and now it's about 5 of 8. We've already recited the Pledge of Allegiance earlier. Are there any additional consent or calendar items tonight? I'm not aware of any. Is anyone else aware of any changes?
No.
Okay. Are there any public delegations that would like to address the Board of Selectmen? Yes, we have, I believe it's Mr. McKenzie. Don? Okay.
Don McKenzie, 10 Woodland, Niantic. As chair of the East Lyme Republican Committee, I need to address an issue I feel is being mishandled, needs some organization in regard to the appointment of those serving on boards or commissions. There are close to 30 boards and commissions in our town, from aging to zoning. Each of those boards or commissions are filled with volunteers. I'm not mad, just want to try to help out and come up with some solutions. On tonight's agenda, as with past agendas under new business, tonight's 3C, the line item simply states appointments to boards and commissions. What board? What commission? How many seats are available? We are required to have minority representation, and I'm in agreement with that, and I know the number's what it is, but I want to help in getting this organized, but so there will be no one thinking there's an alternative agenda. I got to make sure that I step away from that to make sure that I'm not rooting for the Republicans or the I don't play that way, but however, I don't want it to be perceived that way. That's why I took a step back. But I'll gladly help any way I can. In short, it's not my job. On December 26th, I sent an email to each of you listing my concerns to the process, how to apply to be on a board or commission, to fill out an application, and it should go to Dan, it should go to our first selectman, it should go to or his executive secretary. I've got a copy of that email. I'll turn it to her just to be turned into the record. At our last meeting, a person was selected to join the police commission to take an opening that we were told the person removed who asked to remain. I'm not going to get into the details of that. I don't know them. Only that they were not made aware of the opening. We already had a candidate for the position here in person that was voted in that night. From what I have been told, the individual that was voted in is not a registered voter in our town. Therefore, she is not a member of the police commission, as you have to be an electorate to be voted on in the town. I looked that up. This is not the first time I'm speaking recently that a person has been solicited for a board, and then that night was in attendance here. Like, how does that happen? You know, if the word's not out or it's not available, I could use some coaching there or whatever to help create a system that a person, I'm interested in working for the task. I'll submit a letter of interest to your office. I'll submit a bio, and then we'll put the names up for it. In the last couple of days, I've seen some movement and I appreciate any and all efforts in getting this back on track and getting it organized to the best of our ability. There's a lot of commissions there, and there's a lot of people out there that might want to help that just aren't aware. So that's all. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John. I appreciate your concern.
Yep.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the Board of Selectmen at delegations? Okay. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes on December 17th, 2025?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion or changes or corrections to the minutes?
I have a correction.
Okay.
Oh, where did I put it? Oh, on motion 8 for Brian Burridge, I believe that Ann Chicello nominated him and I seconded. You can see on page 2 of 4, towards the bottom, that it says that I both nominated and seconded him, which is not something that can happen. So I think that needs to be corrected.
Okay. And what paragraph was that?
Motion 8.
It's the minutes, page
Yeah.
2 of 4,
Motion 8.
motion 8, regarding Brian Burridge.
I believe that I think that this has already been addressed, that it was basically a typo error. I did speak with the executive secretary, so there has been an awareness made of this.
So, so just to be clear, are you saying that you, Jason didn't do both?
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so do we know who seconded it?
Jason seconded it. I made the motion.
You made the motion. Okay, so
Yeah.
we can correct that right now in the minutes, so
Yeah.
that corrects it. And Sandy, you have where that is? Okay, great. All right.
So I'll move to approve the regular meeting minutes as amended for December 17th, 2025.
Okay, and do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. I believe there is no consent calendar this evening, so we'll just go right by that. All right, next, old business, discussion and possible action, automated ticketing ordinance.
Can I do the motion?
Yeah, let's,
Okay. Move automated ticketing ordinance. Move that the Board of Selectmen approve and adopt a proposed ordinance titled, quote, "Ordinance authorizing the use of automated traffic enforcement safety devices," end quote, as presented at the public hearings on December 17, 2025 and January 7, 2026, and to cause notice of the adoption of this ordinance to be published in accordance with law, and further that the effective date of the ordinance shall be 10 days after publication of the public notice of its adoption as provided for by Section 3.4.3 of the Charter of the Town of East Lyme.
do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, let's open it up for discussion. I think there's a lot to talk about, I believe. I don't know, where do we get, do we want to,
Is this questions amongst each other?
yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking maybe should we have, there were some questions from the public.
Yeah, have
Maybe
the
we
chief.
should have the chief answer
An
first.
Yeah, I
Go
got,
ahead.
yeah.
That
Let's
way,
invite
then
the
from
chief
there
to-
we can go.
Yes.
that'd be
because
great, thank you.
Some of those questions I had
Yeah.
actually as well.
Yeah.
And Chief Glenn is here tonight. Thank you, Chief, for being here.
Sure.
Did you get the questions, or I wrote them down?
There are a lot of them. So in general, there's no cost to the town for implementing the program. There's no continuation of costs or maintenance. The vendor that's selected will have a negotiated contract between the vendor and the town. We'll have an opportunity as a town to negotiate stipulations in the contract that would satisfy anyone's concerns. The administrative fee is what's used to pay for the speed studies, the initial installation of the cameras, the yearly calibration, and any data storage. There is no reporting to the DMV for any fines given. There's no reporting to insurance companies for the fines given, so you don't have to worry about insurance rates going up or points towards a license. What were some of the other questions, if you don't
Says,
mind?
what corporation handled delinquent tickets? Another question.
So the vendor itself sends out the fines. If somebody chooses not to pay the fine, the same vendor would send out another fine, a reminder notice. If somebody continues to fail to pay, it'd be up to the town or the Board of Selectmen on how to pursue that, whether civilly, not pursue it at all, levy liens on property. If they're an East Lyme resident, that would be up to the Board of Selectmen.
Do we know like an initial, I mean, like the initial cost is to do all this? Or is it all determined through the town negotiating with the vendor?
So there's no cost at all to the town.
No cost? So
Zero.
for the cameras themselves, there's no cost to the town?
The vendor pays for that.
Okay.
The way they make their money is on the
Tickets.
on the fees.
On the fees? Okay. I know I had one other question, I gotta look for it.
Another question that a gentleman posed was, they had a camera in the school zones, would the cameras be in use seven days a week, basically?
Yes and no. It could be tailored. We can program the cameras to be on, to be off during school hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We could adjust the speeds that determine when a fine is given out. If there's an influx, if we set it at 10 miles per hour over and there's a huge amount of fines being given, we can make the determination to raise that to 12 miles per hour, for example. But the whole program can be tailored.
I just want to kind of make a statement about the whole thing. The cameras, it sounds like people are for them and people are against them. I'm even kind of on the fence myself, but I just wanted to state that the cameras aren't going to solve our low police staffing. It's going to help you guys, but it still doesn't solve our low staff because we do need more police officers, so we need both.
I agree. Yeah, this isn't a one or the other type situation.
Right.
This camera program is to
Right.
reduce speed for safety concerns.
Right.
There's still going to be a need for more
Right,
staffing.
right, so we do need both. Yeah, okay.
Somebody asked about the average lifespan of a camera. I don't know if you even know that.
I don't know that, and that wouldn't be on us to determine that. That'd be through the calibration and the maintenance schedule on the actual device itself. But it's a simple radar machine. It's what we deploy, it's the same technology we deploy now. The only difference is the machine takes a picture of the license plate opposed to the police officer visually seeing the license plate and giving an infraction.
And then somebody else asked a question, something about if the federal government was looking for information. And I was kind of of the impression that this information would be just what is in the DMV, right? That's what the vendor would get, just the
That's what they use to
information
send the fines, that's correct.
that- Yeah, okay. Oh, there's another question.
Like they talked about something about a firewall.
Oh, yeah, there was something about a firewall. I don't know if you know anything about that. Let me see
If it
what
was
this
breached.
is.
Sure, so.
The collect system,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So any technology that touches the collect system has to have firewall standards up to what they require. So it'll be protected to their satisfaction, not ours. It's not our information.
Yeah.
It's the DMV's.
Okay. And I guess just for edification for the public, just so you could explain, if the ordinance does pass, what are the next steps then?
Yeah.
Just so that people have an understanding of how this actually would go forward and progress.
Sure. So next step would be application to the Department of Transportation. Part of the packet, not exactly this packet, but part of the packet, at least in theory, that was delivered to the Board of Selectmen and eventually to the public that generated this additional public hearing would be part of that application process. There would be a speed study done, some crash data analysis, but true analysis, not just looking at public information that's on DOT's website, actual analysis done by trained analysts. There would be documentation of efforts to calm the speeding by the police department, by traffic calming efforts with roadway design and so forth. Once the locations, the specific locations are determined, and we feel that the specific locations should be part of the application process to be sent to the Department of Transportation, we would hold another public hearing. We present those specific locations, all the reasons why we believe those locations are justified. We'd hear from the public, and minutes from that public hearing would be part of that packet, and then that would go to the DOT for an evaluation.
So the minutes from that public hearing is part of the record for the DOT consideration of whether or not those locations get approved.
Correct. So this ordinance doesn't just pass and then the police department or myself decide I'm going to put 5 cameras on that street and no cameras on that street. There's an in-depth process to that.
And what's the cost, I don't know if you already said it, for that analysis?
There will not be a cost to the town of East Lyme at all.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you.
So I think the follow-up question is, who's paying?
The vendor makes their money on the fees once fines are sent out, the administrative fees. It's just like a toll system. It's the same technology they use for over-the-highway tolls. It's the same payment schedule. It's the same vendor strategy.
It seemed to me from some of the questions that there was, I think is a misconception that these cameras can be moved around. Once they're established by the application process, that's where they have to remain. Am I correct on that? Unless you submit an amended application to move a location or add a location? Is that?
That's correct. These aren't designed to be moved around. They're installed, they stay there. The scale of the program can be ramped up, but that's through additional application processes with other evaluations of specific locations.
Do you have an idea of how many cameras you would want initially if we decide to go forward with it under an application?
I think the right strategy would be to see what the data shows us once we do the evaluation. I think because of the staffing levels at the police department, we start slow. But with the application process, we look at all of the data available to us. We determine locally what specific locations we would like approved from DOT. Include that with the application process, whether that's 3 locations or 13 locations, we don't know yet.
Yep.
But as far as implementation, once those are approved, I think we should start slow with 1 location at a time.
There, in a number of the questions centered around the concern over the data and who has access to it, and we heard the firewall question. How long does that data reside with the vendor? Can you address some of that? If you know, does that data get deleted after the appeal process for the ticket, or does it reside somewhere?
Sure. So the only data that's collected is the actual information that is taken from DMV. It's the same data that we collect and we actually store on our servers now. If we give a ticket, if we investigate an accident, if we run a license plate. So there's no additional data. It doesn't identify any drivers, where their locations are. It doesn't take a picture of the driver. It is a picture of a license plate. The vendor accesses the Department of Motor Vehicles database to identify the owner. The owner of the vehicle is given the fine. The data, as it pertains to the actual owner of the vehicle, is only retained to satisfy the length of a potential appeal. If somebody pays the fine, then that vehicle information is retained for the 1 year because the second violation is a higher fine. And then all of that information is purged.
Are there any contractual controls over the treatment of that data, if you know, with the vendor agreement?
There is, yeah. We can negotiate our own contract with the vendor.
So we as a town and as a board would have the ability to shape or contour the use or treatment of that data?
That's correct.
Any questions, Jason? I know you had concerns before, and maybe you want to. Is there any questions?
I don't have any questions for the chief.
You're all set.
I would say to the chief, as you sat here and listened this evening, you heard many concerns about speeding throughout the town, and I'm sure that you are aware of many of these hot spots, so to speak. But our earlier conversation with the Board of Selectmen, as we were beginning to look at the process, was concern about school safety, and that as an initial point we might start with cameras at the schools where there's a lot of quick drop off and then speed up and leave to get ready for work, so on. So my thought had been preserving the safety of children as opposed to thinking about the larger picture of traffic problems within the town, because my assumption was that those problems were already being handled to some extent, except for the problem areas. So this was this was clarified this evening for me.
I do have a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This may feel like an unrelated matter, but since this kind of hit the public and a public conversation has begun, there's been kind of a larger conversation about surveillance. And folks in town have talked about flock cameras. They were no longer not part of the conversation earlier. Could you give us kind of a profile of what they're for, what they're doing, how they'll be used in this kind of overall surveillance picture, and maybe perhaps even the history of them? I wasn't on the board when they came about. I remember when they were going up, but I didn't get any technical aspects of them.
Sure. So I object to the term surveillance. I don't agree with that term. and everyone's certainly entitled to their own opinions. Especially this very animated young man right next to the podium. So with the flock cameras, there's some misinformation out there. I know part of the packet was what looked like a snapshot from a social media post or the website that was advertising a social media post. That's not accurate. We don't have 4 flock cameras. One of those locations is not accurate. There's currently 3 flock cameras in the town of East Lyme. Flock cameras have nothing to do with the speed enforcement ordinance or enforcing speeds or deterring speeds or slowing people down. Flock cameras are license plate readers, and they access not the Department of Motor Vehicle files, but a national database. So when a vehicle is stolen, a police officer takes that report, enters that information into the national database. So if the suspect is driving that vehicle out of state or in state, and a police officer comes across a vehicle, runs the license plate, they know it's a stolen vehicle. It's the same theory with the flock cameras. If that same vehicle drives by a flock camera, it accesses the same database and notifies the police that that vehicle is stolen, and a description of the vehicle is given out. The same national database houses missing children, missing and endangered adults, wanted people, people who their identity lives in that national database and they're tied to a vehicle. So the flock cameras are reading the license plates nonstop, not only if somebody's driving too fast. It reads every license plate that goes by, and it searches that national database to see if they've been entered into that database.
And a lot of the privacy concerns centered around data. Do we have information about where that data goes, who has access to it?
Sure. Yeah, I can get you that information. Yeah, I was here prepared to talk about the town ordinance and speeding ordinance and speeding problems in town for public safety, not to discuss flock, but I can get you that information.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
So that would be considered part of the public hearing, that
The flock? No.
Flock
I just
isn't
want
part.
to make sure that we're not.
That's a
gonna
separate
be
issue.
saying we have to
Yeah.
have another public hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to.
Well, during our deliberations, the idea of automatic license plate readers was brought up previously, and these already exist in town. I don't want to conflate issues, but I do think, and forgive me, Chief, I don't have a better word, that it kind of factors into an overall surveillance ecosystem. And I think they are different issues, but perhaps parallel. And I do think it's worth talking about them, or at least having them brought up so people understand that these cameras exist.
Okay, I mean, my understanding is they are 2 completely different systems for different purposes. So
Yes.
a speeding camera only takes the picture if the car is speeding, if it's over a certain threshold. All other cars going by are not tracked or captured by a speeding camera. The flock cameras, as I understand it, they look at every single vehicle, regardless of if there's some concern about that marker plate number or not. It looks at everybody, so it isn't selecting certain individuals to look at. If flock is given, if there is a plate they're looking for because there's a kidnapped kid or some other purpose, they can find out, they can identify if that car has passed through that checkpoint. So I think it's a separate issue. Yeah, it's, there is this larger issue of concern about the privacy and I guess I didn't want to interrupt you if you had more to say about it. But I think that raises sort of the larger issue, and we're trying to solve a problem. And the problem is there seems to be a fair concern. I'd say the majority of the people that took the time to come in here and address the board tonight were concerned about the speeding issue itself. That they've had problems getting out of their driveways or riding a bike or someone that needs to push a wheelchair down the side of the road. They're concerned about the excessive speed. I know sitting here for as long as I have, not only as a first selectman, but as on the board for many years, that's one of the issues we hear about. quite often. And now I get a lot of phone calls. What are you going to do about the speeding? What can you do about it? Do something better. And so you're trying to balance solving a problem with privacy concerns. I think, the concern about privacy, that horse left the barn a while ago when they brought out the first iPhone. And I think we give up more of our privacy just for carrying one of these things around all the time than driving through a speed enforcement camera in East Lyme or any other municipality. It's with the algorithms and things that they can figure out just by, at what time of day you're walking with your phone, what things you're doing. It's amazing what they can figure out about an individual. So we already have a privacy issue to be concerned about. But I don't think this is really it. I don't think this particular device is the device that really should keep us awake at night. I know there's certain individuals that would disagree with that, and I get that, and I appreciate that, and I respect that. But I don't think, in balance, the safety for not only people that are pedestrians walking on the road, but also our police force. I hate to see a police officer out beside a car, outside of the vehicle, on the side of the road, trying to get a license or a registration or whatever they have to do. It's one of the most dangerous things that I think a police officer does, and you don't know who it is that you're pulling over. And today we're in such volatile times, the road rage and everything else that goes with it. I hate to see our police officers or any police officer in any town put in harm's way in that way when there is a machine that can take that risk away from our police officers and leave them to do it's all important, but the even more important work of investigating accidents and attending to people, calls at their homes. That's some of the most important work the police do. And we have another way to solve the problem. So in balance and trying to consider the pros and cons, I come out in support of the speed cameras. I think it's a problem we can solve. They're not going to be sneaking up on you. You're going to know where the cameras are. There's going to be warnings, I understand, ahead of it before you get there. It isn't, the goal here isn't to create a new revenue stream for the town. Not that we couldn't use it, but the real goal is to enhance safety of pedestrians and really get people. Someone mentioned, I don't know who it was, I think he may have left the room, but said to create a culture of slowing. And maybe it was the man from England that was here, or Britain. Is that the same place? Yeah, anyhow.
Yeah, that's what it
okay, yeah, okay. So, to create a culture of driving slower, obeying the speed limits. And I think this is a step in creating that culture of, if I speed, I'm going to get, one of these days I'm going to get tagged, it's going to cost me $50 or $60, whatever it is. Maybe you start to encourage people to pay attention a little more and slow down a little bit. Not only where the speed cameras are, but create that a habit of following the speed signs. So I come out in favor of it. I don't know, we'll call it for a vote in a few minutes. I don't know if anyone else wants to express their pro or con against it. That's where I stand.
I have some feelings I'd like to share.
Yeah.
So I would just like to kind of explain why I created this document that was incorporated into the report last time. And Candace last time brought up that it felt like things were done out of order. So I'm a science teacher, so I spend a lot of time trying to convince other people to use numbers and data to draw conclusions. And I felt that this is a big change. Now, you are correct, Dan, and Mr. Steele is correct that there are serious issues with privacy in our modern world. We have phones in our pockets. They've revolutionized our lives. They've revolutionized the way we think about data. However, I think that this is a new frontier. I think this is different. I think this is another step because this involves law enforcement. And this involves a whole host of issues that, yes, phones are problematic, but going further with this, allowing law enforcement to use this kind of as a new tool should not be an idea taken lightly. And there were some data points thrown towards us at some point, but I felt like it wasn't enough. So what I did is I started trying to get data, and I reached out to the Department of Transportation, and they were wonderful, and they were able to help me. And I did not check the credentials of the people that I was working with, but I would assume they are trained and knowledgeable because they helped me kind of find data that would make sense. So I put together this list, and I'm not going to read the report. I don't want to, make too many demands on your attention this evening, but the final conclusion was that East Lyme actually does a pretty good job controlling speeding cameras. And the sad fact is, it's very difficult to look out onto a room of people who feel scared to walk around in their own communities and say this, but I don't think this is going to solve your problems. I don't think these cameras will affect your ability to ride a bike through town, or how safe you feel, or people running red lights, or taking sharp rights at corners. These have one specific goal, and I think once they go up, they're not going to come down. And then the next item will go up. You say, that didn't solve the problem I'm concerned with bikes or the turning corners. So I think there's a significant issue of creep. And the word that's used in my research is surveillance creep. So I found this data, and it said to me not that speeding was not the issue, that aggressive driving was the issue. And as the chief spoke, someone came up with a website, a screenshot, social media. This is not like hard-hitting journalism reporting, but the issue with the flock cameras, I think, was left out of the initial conversation. I think it would be a good idea if before we made a decision, we had a complete inventory of what technologies are used to surveil, keep track of data that comes out of East Lyme drivers, and also who has access to that data, where it goes. Because one thing I've learned from using these phones is that if you don't pay for the service, that's because you are the product. You are being sold as a commodity. Your data is being used. And I have a really tough time believing that there is absolutely no cost, that this company has this sophisticated technology, all these people, all these training modules that they have to administer to police, climbing up on poles, installing cameras with $15 a pop. I think our data will end up places that we will not control and we will not profit from. And if we need revenue, and we will need revenue in the future, for sure, as prices go up, we should be in control of that data. If we're going to sell that data to someone, perhaps East Lyme should benefit so the taxpayers can benefit from it. Otherwise, it will go to some proprietor and they'll benefit from it because that's their business model. So my recommendation is wait on this until we have a complete inventory. And as the chief said, if we go forward, we need to have an idea of who gets our data and how we can control it. And I don't know, it doesn't sound like we have the ability to do that at the get-go, but perhaps that could be baked into the ordinance language so that that kind of blunts the whole idea of creep. My third recommendation is that the data be made public. Not just we know who it is that has it, but that the data becomes public, because you can't say one way or another about any claim or any question unless you have information, right? Like I think I put into this little thing I made here that, let's say someone says red cars are deemed more than black cars. There's no way we will ever be able to say yes or no on that. I'm not talking about racial bias. I'm talking about any aberrant bias. We wouldn't be able to identify that unless we had publicly available data. And for the record, I'm not opposed to this idea. I mean, I made a whole report, and I feel like I'm the center of this kind of storm over this issue. But as a science teacher, I just needed to have the data and make a decision. Right now, the data is not saying that this is necessary. I could be convinced easily. I mean, that's what science is all about. However, at this point, I have to say I'm not in support of this ordinance.
So I have a quick question then. If we approve, let's say we decide tonight to approve this ordinance, and then we get all of our facts, would we be able to change our mind if once we get all the facts? Like once they do the study and all that, can we go back and change the ordinance, or will the ordinance stay and we're stuck with it?
That's an interesting question.
Because I know you talked about there's going to be data done by this company and stuff, so I'm just wondering.
I think it raises some interesting issues.
So if you're the body that has the authority to create a town ordinance, you're the same body that could modify a town ordinance, right? As far as the information that will come in the near future, if this is passed, that's to determine
Where to put them.
if the specific location
Okay.
is
Okay, so it's not
good or not.
It's not to say how badly we need, or we need 10, we need 20 camera. It's mostly to just say you
The
need them
location.
here. Okay. So it's not going to give us that added information. Okay.
I think the issue that it raises, though, and a concern that really didn't occur to me till just now. So we, as a governing body, we enact an ordinance, and then we have a vendor company that relies on the creation of that ordinance, and now they start to do work. They're going to do studies, traffic studies, and then we say, you know what, we've got cold feet, we're going to retract the ordinance. There's a concept of detrimental reliance, and have they been harmed because they relied on the town passing an ordinance? And I don't know, without studying the contractual relationship between the town and the vendor.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, we could pass the ordinance, but certainly before we go too far, before the vendor gets too involved,
Find out if there's a
I think we
detriment
need to
the
know
town. Yeah.
what happens if we change our minds.
Right.
And they invest time and effort and money in getting prepared to be the vendor.
Or if we even had said, we're not ready in the next 6 months, but maybe 6 months later we'll readdress it. I mean, I don't know how that contract works with that vendor, so is that something
And I
we
don't,
need to
I don't
find
have,
out
we
more
don't
about?
have, I don't have access to I don't know,
Oh.
I haven't seen the contract.
There's no contract that exists, and that's what I mentioned
Right.
earlier.
Okay.
So this town ordinance just gives the town of East Lyme the legal authority
Right.
to implement the program, to
Okay.
issue fines, to
Okay.
set a structure in place for the program. Any contract that the town gets involved with a vendor, a specific vendor, that's chosen by the town, can be negotiated, and there could be clauses.
Okay.
There could be, no contract length, for example, where you're not locked in for a certain amount of time, where you can stop the program altogether. It's a individual contract for the town.
It's separate from, so we could enact the ordinance, but until we cross the bridge where we have signed a contract with a vendor, we would still have the ability to
Change our mind.
change our mind, I
or-
suppose, if that's where it goes. But once we enact the ordinance, then, well, let me ask you this. Does the DOT approval happen before we contract with the vendor, or do we contract first and then the DOT does their study? Do we
Yeah.
know
We
that?
contract first.
We contract first.
Okay, yeah.
The vendor
Before any
helps
money is
us,
spent and effort by any other entities.
the vendor helps us put together the
I'm just trying to think of the order
application
of
process.
operations here.
Okay, yeah.
And just keep in mind, I'm not sure if this is glossed over, but all the information that we're talking about, the police department currently has on our servers. This information exists. This isn't going to be new information that's created and on day one of this program, all of a sudden exists. We work with this information all the time. It's on our computers. It's on our server at the police department. It's backed up at the town hall server. So I know, I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic, if I misheard you, that you wanted the town to sell personal data to make a profit?
No, I think someone's going to make the money on this,
Yeah.
and if it's not going to be the town. So I'm not in favor of selling town data. I'm in favor of us controlling our data.
Yeah, so am I. I think we're in agreement. I think the contract, when we're dealing with a vendor, we stipulate that in the contract.
You know, I'm not, and it brings to mind, and not that there's there's always a nefarious aspect to anything in life that you could think of. But I mean, if you were to sell the data, who would want to buy it? Well, if I was a Lamborghini dealer, I'd want that data. I want to know who likes to speed because I'm going to send them a brochure about the latest. No, that's who I'm going to target. That's your target audience.
Yeah.
Am
No, true.
I right, Mr. McKenzie? You know about selling. That's who you want to know.
Just one more thing before I sit down as well. All the vendors in the business of doing this are national companies. They're the same companies that do it throughout states across the country already and have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
The same vendors who have the tolls in Massachusetts all the way down the East Coast. So these vendors have contracts with DMV. DMV is not just going to release information to any vendor who has a contract with a small town like East Lyme.
Thank you. Are we?
I'd like to make a couple of comments because I came this evening pretty much after spending a number of hours thinking about this and actually reading your data. Thank you for 3 hours of homework. Because we had talked about putting placing these cameras around the schools for school safety.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have full-time school safety officers, old time. We don't have those anymore in the same vein. But, so I thought, if these cameras saved the life of one child, then they were worth it. But now I've listened to the comments this evening, and this is one of the biggest turnouts we've had in years for a public hearing. I'm rethinking it, and I'm torn. I don't feel comfortable making a decision tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody else on the board wishes to, then I'll abstain. But we heard a lot of people's concerns tonight, and I think this took a different turn than what we had expected. And I personally don't think that we're ready to adopt a policy yet. But I will yield to the majority, and I will abstain if we decide to set up a policy this evening.
So I guess, if I can jump in here. Yeah, I was surprised that so many people showed up, and listening to stories of people either being hit or almost being hit and being fearful. I mean, you see it around town. I think that what I would be interested to do is to pass the ordinance, and then I'd want to see what that not the crash data, but what the analysis would show. So is it something where it would just be near the schools, or would it be something where on 161 near Porton Pond that something would be put up? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the areas would be. I was thinking originally, like Roseanne, that it would be near the schools. However, I think you need to see what the data shows and where they should be placed. The schools are important because I watch these kids, my own kids, and just the kids by the high school and all the schools. They don't look; they just run across the street, literally. And if people are speeding, these kids can get hit. And I don't want that to be on my conscience that I did not pass this ordinance and somebody got killed. I also feel that, this information is out there. This is your DMV information. That's what they're accessing it. And once you pay the ticket and you don't get another ticket, it's removed. If you don't want your information to be taken, then, don't speed. That's the answer. Even having talked about this, because I was one of the speeders, I'm going to be honest, I am driving the speed limit now. I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is what the speed limit is. I have people literally on my tail all the time now, and I'm like, okay, that's right, whatever, because I think you want to be safer. And I think somebody said this, and it's true, if you make it a habit, and I think if we can make it a culture where people aren't speeding as much. And it's not just speeding, it's the aggressive driving. And that's almost even, I live up on 161. I could be going 45, the speed limit. Somebody will zip by me going 70 or 80. And then there's like another car coming, and I'm going, oh my God, are we going to crash? Like, are they going to crash? This happens very often on 161 where I live. And I am driving the speed limit, which is still 45, which is a good clip. And these guys are just literally going around me, doing this and that. So
that sounds more like reckless driving, and that
reckless,
was part
aggressive,
of
yeah. And I
was part
think
of the
though
study.
that it will be very informative to see where the issues are in town and where they think the camera should go. So whether it should just be near some of the schools or whether there are other areas.
Well, they're going to start out slow to begin with anyway.
Exactly.
So.
And I also went, and I've mentioned this before, I went to a Connecticut Council of Municipalities, a meeting. So all of the municipalities from the state were there, all the first selectmen and the higher ups. And I went to a seminar. We must have had 100 people in the room. And people said, what's the biggest issue in your town? Resounding traffic, people speeding, aggressive driving. We've tried calming measures, we've tried this, we have the police out. So I was taken aback. I thought it was like East Lyme, but it is literally across the whole state, if not nation. I don't know about the nation, but it's definitely across the state. So I would be in favor of this ordinance. I just think if it's to, in addition to the police doing the calming measures and having the police out there giving tickets, this would be another addition, another layer to get people to slow down. I also feel like in the ordinance it states that for the first 30 days people would just be getting a written warning. So it's like, hey, you've been speeding, next time you're going to get a ticket. And also there's supposed to be a public awareness campaign before it starts, so people are aware this is going to happen. So hopefully you won't have that, what's it called, kangaroo driving that they were talking about. So for these reasons, I am in favor of it.
Okay.
Don't forget Candace is
Yeah.
up online too.
Candace, did you want to weigh in?
Of course, and thank you for that. So before I start, I'll apologize for how I sound, and thank you for the opportunity to Zoom in tonight. I'm just not feeling very well. I've said quite a few times now, because now we've had 2 public hearings and a few meetings on this, and I thank the chief for the continuous conversation and questions and Q&A. I apologize for others and how the misunderstandings and misinformation that has been flying around, unfortunately, I think has impeded some people to this point. I'm in full support of the ordinance. I think that it is going to help public safety here in our community. I happen to live off of Riverview Road, where a man was killed, which is right down the road from Lily B. Haynes. And the truth of the matter is we are aware that people just generationally are not paying attention when they're driving. They're on their phones, and they are speeding. I do think that it's going to help. So I am in full support of moving it forward tonight.
Thank you, Candace. Thanks for sticking with us, even though you're not feeling well. I hope you feel better soon. Well, any other comments? There's been suggestions that we table this or hold off to get more information. Is there any interest from the board in doing that, or is there, do we want to move forward?
I have no interest in tabling this.
I think we should probably just move forward with it.
One way or the other?
One
Up
way
or
or the
down?
other, yeah.
I tend to agree. Okay.
Yeah, can only beat this horse so much.
Yeah, well, okay then. We have a motion on the table. It's been seconded. Let's call the vote. And the motion was to approve it. Is that right?
Yeah, to approve and adopt the proposed ordinance, exactly.
Okay.
That was the motion.
All right. So let me ask, all in favor of approving the motion to adopt the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
1, 2, you have 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
We have 2 opposed. All right, the motion, and there's no one abstaining. Okay, so the motion carries, and it'll now, the next part of the process is to publish the ordinance? Yep, okay, and we will do that, and then 10 days after publication, it'll 10 days after that, it'll be effective. Okay, all right. I thank everyone that weighed in tonight and commented, and for the lively discussion. Jason, thank you for the extra mile that you went to try to help us understand. It's a big issue and not an easy one to weigh in on. But okay, so we've completed that. And thank you, Chief, for being here tonight to address
Yes, thank you.
and answer our questions. I know it's a late night. And,
I know.
I know you have a busy day, so. All right, new business. Let's turn our attention to discussion and possible action of ordinance 5221, proposed amendment to interest rate for overdue water charges from 12 to 18%. So the idea here is that, in other areas, if you're overdue on your taxes, in other areas, the interest rate is 18%, and for the overdue amount when you're late. And so this amendment would move the interest rate from 12 to 18%. And let me just read the relevant section. From the time that any fee or charge described in this section becomes due and payable, it shall bear an interest rate of 18% per annum until paid, unless paid within 30 days from the date it becomes due and payable. So currently, the rate is 12%, and this amendment seeks to change that to 18%. Do I hear a motion?
Why are they looking to increase it so much?
I think it's a scheduled public hearing, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to schedule, but yeah, it would be to schedule, but the first section is to discuss.
I don't have a motion.
You just need a motion
Unless
to
you want me to read
discuss
the
it.
proposed amendment?
Yeah, so we just need to
proposed
discuss the
amendment.
possible action, yeah. And then the motion would be to schedule a public hearing, if we're interested in doing it.
So you just want to have a discussion about it briefly? Or
Yeah.
Do you want?
So I don't need to read the proposed amendment?
No, not until we get
Okay.
to the next,
No.
schedule a public hearing. But
Okay.
what's the feeling on the ordinance?
I just want to know, why is it so high? Because I feel like that's a huge jump from 12 to 18.
Yeah, 50%. 50% of 12%.
I just think it's high looking at it, that.
So if you're late on your property taxes, it's 18%.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
So
and-
we're going to move to be 18%
And so they wanted to make
across the
it,
board?
they wanted to make it the same.
Okay.
I guess so that,
Consistent.
I won't pay my water bill, but I'll pay my taxes because
Yeah.
it's 18 and the water bill's only 12% if I don't pay
Yeah.
it. So I think that they feel, I think, I don't want to speak for, Water and Sewer, although I am the chairman of Water and Sewer. I think there is a concern that we should be on the same plane as other,
The other,
other bills that are owed to the town.
Interest
We don't want to be the one that's collecting less interest, and so maybe there's a lower probability of it getting paid. I think that's the idea.
okay.
Just a question, and I'm not sure if people know this. This is for the water. Do they also have it for sewer?
Yeah.
And is it, do we know if this is just considered, I'm just
So-
wondering then, is sewer also probably going to go along the same vein if they're already not at?
Well, it's just
the
one bill
18%?
anyway. It's just one bill, your water.
It's one
sewer
bill.
bill's one bill.
It's one bill,
One
yeah. So
bill.
if you don't
Yeah.
have a,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, if you're on a well, then you don't have
Yeah.
a sewer. And
Yeah.
but you'd have, you wouldn't have a water bill either. You wouldn't have either. But
If you're well and sewer.
but if
have
you're on
water.
a septic system, but you have water, then
Yes.
you just get a water bill.
Yes.
But
okay,
if you have both, then it's a combined bill.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's what, all right.
Yeah, so there's only one
okay, it's
water and sewer.
one-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood.
So having thought about it a little bit, is there any other
I'll go
questions?
next if no one is going to. I know it's so hard not being there in person. So is it okay for me to speak on it?
Of course.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm not in favor of this at all. I think that this is going to, put another burden on our taxpayers. I think it's hard enough right now, just in general for people. If you're paying attention to how people are talking about their Eversource bills and yes, their water bills and all of these different things, I think that that's going to be very impactful on them. So I would be a no on that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is for those that haven't paid the water and sewer bill. This is the interest for the next month. Let's say you're a month late.
I understand.
You understand that?
So I understand. They're still going to have a percentage.
Right.
It's just not going to be up at the 18.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, they're probably having a hard time paying their water bill. I don't know if any of you have ever had a hard time paying your water bill, but some people do. So,
Got it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
hey,
I do too.
Someone
I
is
agree with
not
you.
going to pay their water bill because they're probably struggling, not because there's some kind of
Yeah, well, the water prices have
ne'er-do-well.
increased tremendously.
thank you. Yes.
On the other hand, all things are going up across town, and we are going to need to shore up our finances if we're going to maintain the level of quality of life that we currently have for our citizens. So we do have to make a lot of tough decisions, and maybe this is just a shot across the bow for what's coming during the budget. But this is definitely going to be an issue going forward.
I guess the way I look at this is, I guess there would be a public hearing, and I think I would be interested in hearing from the townspeople on this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's, I guess I'd want to hear more information from them, and I would hope that people would show up and, voice their opinion.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people I know are upset with their water bills as it is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's,
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
So we should go to public hearing, is what you're saying?
I think that's
where we're, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think we need to hear from the public, and
I agree.
so what we should do then is
I'll just make the
make
motion.
a motion to schedule a public hearing so we can receive comments from the public.
Okay. Schedule public hearing, interest rate charge, change, water. Move the following. Town of East Lyme Board of Selectmen, notice of public hearing regarding an amendment to ordinance section 52.21 entitled, quote, various water charges, end quote. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing to be held by the East Lyme Board of Selectmen at 7 p.m. on January 21st, 2026 at the East Lyme Town Hall, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, to consider an amendment to ordinance section 52.21 entitled, quote, various water charges, end quote. The proposed amendment raises the interest rate on overdue fees and charges imposed by the Water and Sewer Commission from 12% to 18%. Copies of the full text of the proposed ordinance are on file for public inspection at the office of the East Lyme Town Clerk, 108 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, and at eltownhall.com, to which reference may be had. Interested persons are invited to attend and be heard. Dated at East Lyme, Connecticut, on the 7th day of January 2026. East Lyme Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so,
Second.
we have a second?
Yeah, Jason.
Okay. Any further discussion on the scheduling the public hearing?
No.
We good? Candace, you good?
I am, yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor of scheduling the public hearing signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. So we will hear from the public on this important issue. Next, this will be a little bit lengthy, but I want to thank Ian and Roseanne for reaching out to the existing members of boards and commissions that are up for reappointment, and we're going to try to accomplish as much as we can tonight in reappointing people that are already on the board, but are now, their term is expiring. These aren't any new people. We will deal with new appointments at our next meeting, but these are people that are already on boards, and we're seeking to reappoint them.
Okay.
Do you want to split this? Or
I think I got it.
Okay.
Okay. If you want a second, or maybe have the same person second, it'll make it easier.
There is one exception. When we get to that, I'll point it out, that frankly, he's not on a board. Okay.
Okay. Move to appoint Carol Coyle, 22 Seabreeze Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Commission on Aging on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Second.
We have it. All right. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint.
Would it be easier if we did all the appointments for the same commission at once?
Can we?
So they didn't have to be,
I think we,
so they did, just for that commission, so that we didn't have to do each one.
I think we talked about that last year. I think we have to do each
Yeah, I think we have to do each one.
individually. Yeah.
Get comfortable.
Yep, okay. Ready? Move to appoint Wendy Fiore of 5 Atwood Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Commission on Aging on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Emily Fiore of 5 Atwood Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Brookside Farm Museum Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, first and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now, this is the exception to what we're doing, the next one.
Okay, do you want me to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Move to appoint Frank Lathrop of 195 Doyle Road, Oakdale, as a chief building official for the town of East Lyme.
Second.
Okay, so this isn't a commission, this is the building official. He's our acting building official at the moment, and I'll just say on his behalf, he's done a wonderful job. The contractors think he's great, and people downstairs really like working with him, so I think he's...
The issue is that he lives in Oakdale. That is not a problem.
No, he's
It's
required, though, by the Board of Selectmen to be appointed,
appointed.
so that's
Yeah.
why it's here.
It's not, so it's not
Yeah.
a board of commission, it's actually
Yeah,
Got it.
it's a job.
an
Yep.
employee. Okay.
So, all right, it's first and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you.
Move to appoint Laura Ashburn of 31 West Main Street, number 9, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Commission for the Conservation of Natural Resources on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? None. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Donald Danila of 24 Patagonia Drive, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Commission for the Conservation of Natural Resources on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any, first and seconded, any discussion? Any? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Mark Christensen of 66 Grassy Hill Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Commission for the Conservation of Natural Resources on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Marjorie Meekoff of 6 Cedar Ridge Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member on the Commission for the Conservation of Natural Resources on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, motion carries.
Move to appoint J. Hallman Waring of 85 Quarry Dock Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the East Lyme Harbor Management Shellfish Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Craig Mason of 9 Acorn Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the East Lyme Harbor Management Shellfish Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Stephen Carpenteri of 25 Harvest Glen, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Fair Rent Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
He's a good dude.
Yes, he is. Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Nancy Johnson of 10 King Arthur Drive, number 121, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Fair Rent Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Any discussion? Being none, do I hear?
Second.
Do I hear a second? All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Mike Beckage of 84 Hope Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Fair...
There's a problem.
He's alternate, I'm sorry. It should say alternate.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Apologies.
Yeah, that's
Thank
a-
you, thank you.
Alternate, thanks for catching it. Sandy.
Okay. I'll start over. Move to appoint Mike Beckage of 84 Hope Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member on the Fair Rent Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Okay.
Motion carries.
All right.
Do you want to
No,
take a
this
break?
is
You
another
want-
one. No, I'm good.
You good?
I'm just moving ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Got momentum.
This one is also an employee?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to probably explain that after I do the motion. Move to appoint Mariah Knight of 277 West Main Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as Deputy Fire Marshal on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Mariah Knight was our fire inspector, and I think we met with her before. She addressed the board several weeks ago. She's now completed all of her certifications, and she's now certified to be a fire marshal. So, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, motion carries. Congratulations, Mariah.
Move to appoint Rory Gio of 104 East Shore Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as Deputy Fire Marshal on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Okay,
Second.
we have a second. So we're getting fully staffed in that area, so that's great. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint David H. Hausman, Jr., 474 Laurel Hill Road, Norwich, Connecticut, to serve as Deputy Fire Marshal on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Second.
We have a second. Same comment? Good to have some additional resources there. So, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Being none, motion carries.
Move to appoint Carol Ann Gordon of 26 Broadway, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member on the Historic Properties Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Rodney McCauley of 228 Roxbury Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Historic Properties Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Sandra Bullock of 6 Heritage Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Historic Properties Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, motion carries.
Move to appoint Steve Marks Hamilton of 39 Sunnyside Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Historic Properties Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? If there's none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint John Vilcek of 4 Meadow Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member on the Inland Wetlands Agency on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Carlo Lombardo of 2 Hillcrest Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member on the Inland Wetlands Agency on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Gregory McIntyre of 41 Shore Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Inland Wetlands Agency on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Kristen Chantrell of 13 Green Valley Lakes Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Inland Wetlands Agency on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion? Being done, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Ryan Williams of 2 Barrett Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Inland Wetlands Agency on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being done, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Mark Salerno of 8 Bob White Lane, East Lyme, Connecticut, as a town moderator on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Susan Gonzalez of 44 Heritage Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Niantic River Watershed Board on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Second?
Second?
All right, discussion? Being done, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Donald Danilla of 24 Patagonia Drive, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Niantic River Watershed Board on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second?
Discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Amy Cabanis of 75 Smith Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member on the Niantic River Watershed Board on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint David Castro of 3 Wildwood Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Parks and Recreation Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Susan Cumrow of 14 West Main Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Parks and Recreation Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Move to appoint Robert Curry of 28 Brainerd Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Pension Board on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Any opposition? No? No abstentions. Okay, motion carries.
Move to appoint Dean Fiskus of 255 Giants Neck Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Town Building Committee and the School Building Committee on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Jerry Fortier of 13 North Ledge Rock Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Town Building Committee and the School Building Committee on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second? All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And no abstentions, no opposition. Motion carries.
Move to appoint Alyssa Bradley of 20 Church Lane, number 5, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Town of East Lyme School Building Committee as a Board of Education representative, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint William Derry of 212R Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Town of East Lyme School Building Committee as the Board of Education representative, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, motion carries.
Okay. This one is an employee, but it's moved to appoint Joseph Bergaw, Public Works Director, as a SCARA representative for the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay. So, this one, Dan, I don't think you can
I'm gonna have to
vote.
abstain.
Yeah, you have to abstain.
Recuse.
Move to appoint Daniel Cunningham, First Selectman of the Town of East Lyme, as a member on the Seat Board of Directors, with a term to expire on December 3rd, 2029.
Second.
And any discussion?
He's a great guy.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
And I abstain.
Okay. The motion carries. Move to appoint Michelle Royce Williams of 2 Barrett Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Water and Sewer Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Almost there.
Move to appoint Kenneth Roberts of 2 Rockwell Street, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Water and Sewer Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, any abstentions? Being none, motion carries.
Move to appoint David Murphy of 490 Boston Post Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Water and Sewer Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Paul Spakowski of 37 Mill Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Waterford East Lyme Shellfish Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Peter Harris of 5 South Ridge Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Waterford East Lyme Shellfish Commission on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Being none, motion carries.
Move to appoint John Manning of 25 Marshfield Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Zoning Board of Appeals on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Paul Spencer Clapp of 11 Chadwick Place, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a member on the Zoning Board of Appeals on behalf of the town of East Lyme, with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Nice job, Ann.
Thanks.
Yeah, boy, that's a lot of work. Now let's do it backwards. Okay, all right, so appointments to boards and commissions.
More work to do.
So
Okay.
now we will work on the vacancies,
So,
and that's where we'll have more discussion. We had agreed in an earlier meeting that those people that had served well, attended the meetings, that if they were interested in being reappointed, then we would reappoint, and we had agreed to that.
yes. And this is probably a good time to talk about our ad hoc committee that we had appointed last time. We had appointed Don McKenzie and Roseanne Hardy, but it was pointed out to me that we should also have a Democrat on that committee, so we have a Republican, a Democrat, and someone that's unaffiliated. So, let's see. Wendy Sims has expressed an interest, so I would see if there's an interest in appointing her to that ad hoc committee.
I make a motion to appoint Wendy Sims to the ad hoc committee.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Trying to have a fair panel, and I'm sure we will, and so we can get things done in an open and transparent way. So I think this will facilitate moving forward. So it's a good move. So all in favor? Oh, Candace, did you have any comments? I'm sorry.
No, not on Wendy, and I'm happy to support that.
Good, okay. So all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. So that will be our panel for moving forward with suggesting appropriate candidates for commissions as we move forward.
Yeah,
And
great.
I think that's...
Dan, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So on the agenda, it does not give detail. It just simply states that commission appointings, whatever. It really needs to be delineated who and what we're doing for what boards. So I'm going to ask you to add that to the agenda from now on. And secondly, I want to circle back on Lucy Schumann, because Lucy Schumann was voted in on, and she shouldn't have been,
Right.
because she wasn't vetted, to my knowledge, unless I'm wrong. So it appears she's not even a voter in East Lyme. So the appointment doesn't stand.
That's correct.
So now we need to nominate the other person, which was, I think, Tony Buglion, who put forward his intent to fill that spot.
So we are going to do, on the next meeting,
Well, I'd like to nominate Tony Buglion tonight for the police commission seat.
there are two other people that expressed interest, and I thought the fair way to do it would be to have all three, if they're interested, at our next meeting, so we can have a fair discussion of who we would want to choose. So I think that's premature tonight.
Okay, I disagree. Number one, that should have never happened. Lucy Schumann should have never been brought forward to the board, and that just kind of supports what I've been asking for I don't even know how many meetings now, right, for process. So now we've got a committee going, which is fantastic, but in no way, shape, or form should anybody be coming forward to the Board of Selectmen to be voted on, and then this happen. It's embarrassing, to be honest with you, and it's just unacceptable. So at that last meeting, we had something in front of us from people that had already been serving on the commission, and they sent in their letter of intent. So that's why I said I'd like to nominate that one that was left. And now you don't want to do that. You want to hold off to the next meeting, gather whoever you want, and bring them forward
There are two people
to place them into the seats. I want to have clarity, and I want to be transparent about what's going on, because for me, it feels like there's things that are happening behind the scenes with certain people, and then names are being brought forward. That's my impression. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay. So
that's just unacceptable.
There are two other people that have expressed interest in
Who are those people? Who are those people, and how did they express interest? I'm curious, because there's no process in place.
Well, that's why we're going to do it. I think we should do it at the next meeting. So we have a process now. We've just appointed a third person to the panel, and then let the three people that have sent letters, let them present themselves to the board, so the board can decide who they want. They have three choices.
Okay.
Does that make
sense? How did that go about is my next question. So how was that advertised?
It wasn't advertised, but someone had approached.
So is it word of mouth?
Yeah, well, there's certainly, someone had sent an email to myself, and I believe it was Leanne at the police. What's her role? She's the administrative assistant, Leanne Santos. And she brought it to my attention that there's another individual that is seeking to be considered for the police commission.
Okay. And also, are some of those qualities like that we're looking for is policing, right? Policing experience on the commission?
Well, we have three police officers on the commission. I mean, my own feeling is that we should have some balance.
100%. Yeah, no, I completely support that. But I just wanted to make sure that as we move forward, right, because we get lost in the seats and the terms and the people, and I don't know about anybody else. All I know is I don't know. I come to a meeting and I don't even have a list. And then I get somebody in front of me that I think has been vetted, and she's not even a voter in town. So there's clearly no process. And I can't trust that whoever's coming up in front of me is going to have the experience or is going to even be a voter in town. So I want to ask the questions to make sure that on the police commission that we are having a balance, and we do have a good balance, and we're not ending up with a full commission without having any type of policing experience.
I appreciate your comments. I think that's why it would make sense to hold off on any decision tonight on the police commission, so that the three people that are interested have an opportunity to address the board, all of us, and then we can make a decision that night, which of the three that, at least thus far, maybe there'll be more people that express interest in that position, so we can make a fair decision. So your criticisms are legitimate. I agree, and that's why we do have this ad hoc committee now that I think will help resolve those issues, so we don't have that type of problem in the future.
Very good, thank you.
Could I speak to one thing here?
Yes.
I just want to mention that, or just get clarification. If we add people's names to the agenda, that limits our ability to be flexible in terms of when these agendas are published, right? Like I don't know what I'm trying to say here. The reason the names are necessarily left off is that's just a placeholder. We have it there at every meeting, even if we don't have people who've stepped forward, just in case someone steps forward at the meeting. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So
if we added the names specifically, that would kind of handcuff us or restrain our ability to do stuff like that.
I think that's right. So I think the agenda, tonight it was very general, boards and commissions, because we had a number of boards and commissions. And we had a very lengthy set of motions, the motions that we had, and we would have had to duplicate
Agreed.
that.
No, I can completely agree with Jason on that as far as individual names.
Yeah.
But I think that the last meeting it was going to be the police commission. I think that needs to be put on there.
No, I think to the extent that, I guess that's a discussion. Do we want to have it generic, or do we want to name it? Tonight we would have had a very long list of various commissions.
hang on.
Sandy's got a question.
Yeah.
And every single one of those people on the list to be reappointed were personally called by either Ann or myself. Every single one of those people to be reappointed.
Are you on the committee?
It was agreed that at the last meeting that, I think this is an appropriate discussion for us when we're not online.
Well,
Sandy, do you have clarification?
Yeah, go ahead.
Agendas, when we do, like, throughout the year, if you go back and look at the agendas, they do say appointments, board and commission, and then I put a bullet point, inland wetlands, harbor management. So we do name the commission, we do not name the people, but we do name the commission. Tonight's was because there's 45 of them.
Yeah.
But I think generally, if you look back, we do.
Just for Candace's sake, she's saying, in case you can't hear, that we do bullet the agendas with the commissions, correct? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Normally.
Just not tonight because there was 45.
There's so many different commissions.
And the people tonight were people who were already on the boards and commissions and were just renewing. So we contacted all of them to confirm that they wanted to go forward.
Understood.
What we would do next year is in October.
The last agenda, right. I'm just asking for it to have some sort of process to what we do, because there isn't. And to the question of thinking that it may be or might not be inappropriate to ask questions, listen, we should be asking questions. And if there's no process and there's one or two people just simply picking and choosing possibly who they might think would be a great fit for a certain board versus having a process that's structured where people go and see what seats are available, what the guidelines are, what the expectations are, what the experience, what do you bring to the table, an application, a resume, and then you move forward to a vetting process, which would be great, and then they come forward. That is not too much to ask, especially in municipal government. Maybe we should take a page out of Watford. They have a whole sheet of how to do it. I'll send it to you. Actually, to the committee.
Yeah, so one thing, so So I haven't made the board aware of this yet, but it's probably a good time. There is a meeting, is it tomorrow? Yeah. So with it, we have an ADP system for our payroll, and they have a module for tracking boards and commissions that are coming up. And it would be a portal for people to submit their resumes and their interest. And so this would be, so I've asked to go to that meeting, and I wasn't going to bring it to the attention of the board until after I had a better understanding of how it would work. But I think this module, this system, I don't know what it'll cost, so we got to look at that too. But I think it would largely address the concerns and issues that you have. It's a software. It's something that would be available to everybody in town. They would be able to see what positions are coming up, and then they could express interest. So I think that would be a process. It would be specific, but we don't know the cost yet. So I think if we're able to do something like that, then that's something I would want to bring to the Board of Selectmen for us to consider that system. Does that sound like something that is reasonable to you?
Yeah.
It does, yes.
Yeah, I think that would solve the problem. I think that would address your concerns, and I agree. It is unwieldy sometimes. You can see the number of appointments that we had tonight. So to get that done, and I want to thank Ann and Roseanne for taking the time to go through and call those individuals that were, re-upping, as we might say. But in the future, we have this ad hoc committee now. I think that maybe in tandem with this software program will work to really solidify an identifiable process that hopefully will address everybody's concerns.
I think it would be beneficial. I do.
I do too. So I'll get the details. I've asked to be invited to the presentation tomorrow, and I intend to be there, and I'll report back to the board.
Good.
Great.
Okay, so with that, we have our panel now. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Roseanne, for agreeing to be on that committee. I think we can perhaps now move on to authorize the first selectman to sign grant applications.
Authorize first selectman to sign grant applications. Move that the first selectman is hereby authorized and directed to sign all grant applications and execute and deliver any and all documents on behalf of the town of East Lyme for fiscal year 25/26 through fiscal year 28/29, and to do and perform all acts and things which he or she deems necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all applications contemplated by such documents.
I'm going to abstain from this one, so.
Okay.
Second.
Second? Okay. Is there any discussion about this?
Well, I just have a quick question. Does that mean that we are not going to be brought up to speed on certain things and you just have free reign to just sign anything, or how does that work? Just for clarification.
Well, there's certain executive powers that by charter are bestowed upon the first selectman. And so this is just, we're in a new session now, so I have to be reauthorized to have that authority.
But don't the
I
grant
know.
application...
So I guess my question is, does that mean that you don't have to run it by the Board of Selectmen, that you can just go and do it? So I'll use the example of the boat. Remember when the boat happened and you spent some money
That
on the
wasn't a
boat?
grant. That was an exec. I had the
so
power
it's
to do
different.
that. This is different. This was, so if we have a grant, once it's applied for and if it's approved,
You have the authority.
I have to have the authority to be able to sign it. So that's what this is. It's not for me running rogue and going after grants. The grant process gets approved, and then if it is granted, then we have an appropriation process that is run by the Board of Selectmen. So there are a number of controls. This just simply gives me the authority to sign the piece of paper once it's approved.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we heard a motion, we seconded it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstaining?
I abstain.
Okay. Motion carries 501. All right, so now we have the authorized first selectman to sign check registers. So move that the Board of Selectmen delegates to the first selectman, Daniel Cunningham, upon the absence or disability of the first selectman, to the deputy first selectman, Ann Chichello, the board's obligation to sign the orders of the Board of Selectmen on the town treasury for payment of regularly budgeted expenses of the town, with exception of those of a capital nature over $50,000 where bids are required. And further, that the signed orders covering the period subsequent to the previous regular meeting of the board be presented at each regular meeting of the board for review. In the absence of the first selectman and his deputy, the first selectman may delegate the obligation to sign the orders of the Board of Selectmen to the second deputy first selectman for payment of the expenses of the town.
I would just suggest that we have someone else adopt that motion.
Yeah.
And then you and I both abstain?
Correct.
Okay. So someone want to adopt the motion that was just?
I move.
Yep.
Okay. So Cindy adopts that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
It's up to, so why don't
Keep discussion.
why don't you call the,
Okay, is there any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Abstain.
2 abstaining, motion carries.
okay. Well, we're almost to the end of the agenda. Any ex officio reports
No.
tonight?
No.
I just attended the library board, and basically their health insurance they thought was going to be 12%, went up to 14%. So they just increased their budget request. That's about it.
Yeah, and I don't have much to report tonight. I did on the blasting. This was on the 161 I-95 connector. That was supposed to start this week. My understanding now it's going to start on the 12th. So if you're getting the text messages, be looking out for that. And one other thing, this is, I'm very concerned about certain things, a lot of things. But I was very disturbed about that fire over in Switzerland at that nightclub. And, it was a redo of the station fire, and I know some of us know people that, were victims there in this town. So I've asked Fire Marshal Bundy and Assistant Deputy Mariah Knight to educate me as to what the current code standards are, fire code standards for that type of phone. And then I want to know if there's any places in East Lyme where it's being used. I think we need to know about that. So that we can get it out of this town. We don't want any of that stuff lying around, so any public venue. So they'll be reporting to me on that. Other than that, I don't have any further comments. No communications that I'm aware of. Any public comment? I don't hear any. No selectmen's response. Other than, Don, your comments, I think we've addressed, hopefully, to your concerns about appointments. Tried to clean that up so we have a process.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn the January 7th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 9:38 p.m.
I second.
We have a second. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. It's been a long